let me take you back to the 90s. I wasn't born yet, but Sega and Nintendo were fighting over who had the better plastic boxes. Kids in school were arguing over it, adults were probably arguing over it, and Sega and Nintendo were just racking up cash. They also had to, do a ton of deals and promotions to try to make their consoles seem more appealing. However, Sega wanted to experiment a little, so in the United Kingdom, they ran some pretty inappropriate ads. Now, the ads I'm going to show you guys in this video were the ones I like the most, but there were some ads of Google that I literally just could not put in this video because of how inappropriate they were. The first ad I want to mention says, "What's blue and pisses all over everything?" And Sonic is just sitting there with a smug look while drinking something. It's probably iced tea, because in cartoons it's always either iced tea or lemonade. It always is drawn exactly like that. Now, this ad was used to promote Sonic 1 on the Master System, Genesis, and Game Gear, and is definitely the most tame out of all these ads, because Sega was basically just trying to say Sonic 1 was hot shit, and if you didn't have Sonic 1, you were a loser, and it was better than whatever Nintendo was trying to do at the time. Now, what I like most about this picture is that they basically just took a stock photo of what I'm assuming to be like something at a hospital, and they just hired somebody to put Sonic in it, and it just looks so goofy. But I mean, like, it's a good drawing of Sonic, don't get me wrong, it just makes absolutely no sense. Now, the second one I want to mention is promoting that they dropped the Genesis's price to £129. They're basically saying they dropped a huge piece of in this ad. And I don't really know how this is supposed to make the Genesis sound appealing. Like, if I was a kid looking through a game magazine and I saw that the Genesis was stinky, why should I beg my parents for one if it's just gonna stink the whole house? Like, whatever. Other than that, I don't have much else to say other than how weird the guy on the right's facial expression looks. Like, is he satisfied or disgusted? Why do the automatopoeias say quack? Now, this third ad is sort of just a joke about how a lot of celebrities do drugs. And, Sega was trying to make all their characters celebrities. So, at last, a superstar that blows more out of his nose than he snorts up it. That's a real thing in a real Sega ad. At least this one isn't a bathroom joke trying to make Sonic look like he pees all over everything, or how the Genesis makes the whole house smell bad. But supposedly, Echo the Dolphin to one reviewer was just best Mega Drive game ever. Now, I'm going to put the release date of the Sega Genesis in the UK and Echo the Dolphin, because I'm pretty sure it might have been a little too early to say that it was the best Mega Drive game ever. But I don't really have much to talk about with this one. As the first two, I mean, it's still pretty weird, but that's just how Sega was in the 90s. Now, this fourth one, I wanted to talk about it, but I needed to censor it. Which pair will be the biggest on the beach this summer, the ad proclaims. The top image is a woman in a bikini, and the other is a guy with his underwear not doing a good job of covering up his private parts. This one was advertising a summer deal where I'm assuming you get a Game Gear, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and an AC adapter to play it at home for only £129. Now, I'm assuming you got a Game Gear, but if you didn't, that's still a pretty decent deal. Again, if I was a kid looking through a game magazine in the 90s, seeing a man's private parts would not be a good sell for me to beg my parents for a Game Gear. But I'll get to the reason why I think all these ads were so inappropriate after the fifth ad I'm about to show you guys, which is my personal favorite. I just want you guys to look at this amazing ad for a second. You don't even have to look at the image, just look at the text. Now, it was an ad for Sonic Heroes, if you couldn't tell, and it proudly asked if anybody was up for a threesome. Now, if I was an older teenager or an adult back then, I would have ran to the store and bought this game immediately, just for how goofy that question is, especially for a Sonic game. And, now kids calling something a kids game was more popular, so that was, for a lot of people, probably just a kids game. And for kids, I mean, the joke will either fly over their head or they use context clues to say, oh, 3 characters on the image, so threesome must mean 3 people working together who are like close friends. And then they probably asked their parents a really stupid question later, and they probably got in trouble for it. So, I mean, I feel bad for any kid who actually got in trouble because of a Sonic Heroes ad. Now, the reason why the first 4 ads were inappropriate, and not just the first 4 ads on this list, but just most Sega ads in the UK back then, and why they're inappropriate was just simple. Nintendo always wanted to be the fun for all ages company everywhere in the world. Meanwhile, Sega wanted to experiment a bit, as stated previously, so in the UK they wanted to make their ads super inappropriate to differentiate themselves from Nintendo. It clearly did work though, because the Master System, Mega Drive, and Game Gear did sell a combined 4.9 million units, and if you include the Sega CD, it's 5 million. However, take that with a grain of salt, or just know it's at least 5 million, because Wikipedia uses figures from the early 90s and early 2000s for all 4 of them, so it could be more. So just know at least 5 million units were sold of Sega because they wanted to run some inappropriate ads. Now, for how I got these images, you can pretty much do a quick Google search for inappropriate Sega ads, and you'll find them super quick. Anyways, this is the end of the video, if you couldn't tell, but I have a question for you guys. You like this kind of stuff? This is like my first kind of read off my notepad kind of video with images on screen, like type of video. So let me know in the comments if you like it. Anyways, see ya.